there is 7 minutes or 6 minutes, 58 seconds, and a load of gobbledygooky numbers left of the transfer window. Hello, good evening again to
Good
Thfc
evening.
Till I Die. I'm back, Eddie's back, Emerson doing something in the background, and we're back to see the close of this window. Are we going to sign anybody? And the answer to that is we don't know. And then when the window's shut, then we'll be on discussing the window. We'll be talking about the players we've got in, the players that have gone out, the goods of it, the bads of it, where do we stand? So, there's a bit to come. Can I just start with some breaking news, Ellie?
Yeah.
First, Ellie, welcome again. Glad to have you aboard.
Nice.
Yeah, how are you anyway?
True. Yeah, I'm all right. Just was chilling out. Watched the Man United Leicester game actually, and I went on a stream with Kieran, predicting the scores for the weekend. That was really good fun. Enjoyed that. He's a good lad, that Kieran. I love him. He's very funny.
He is funny. Anyway,
Yeah.
we've got Corey Boy in a minute. He says 50 minutes till my forfeit is in. No, Boyd. Anyways, guys, thanks for all the amazing content. Look,
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you very much, Corey. It's very kind of you to say.
Yeah.
Look, Eddie, we're down to nearly 5 minutes left. Breaking news: Fulham have signed Vinicius from Benfica for €5 million, or 4.5 million euro. Player that actually played for us on Jose Mourinho, believe it or not.
Do you reckon he'll start against us on Saturday?
I do you know what? I don't know, Ellie.
If they register his papers in time, he will.
Yeah, might do.
That'd be weird.
Look, it doesn't look like we're going to get anybody in unless something happens. Since we come off air earlier, I've been across all the social medias, listening to Sky Sports, listening to TalkSport. I've been on to other bits and pieces, and it doesn't look like we're signing anybody.
No.
So it looks like the summer signings we've done are done. Dan James.
Yeah.
Dan James has gone to Fulham. He's passed his medical, so that's going.
Yeah. Good luck to him.
Yeah.
That's his standard.
It's actually been a good window for you, Ellie. We've gone now to 4 minutes and sort of 20 seconds. And Fulham.
We haven't signed anybody, but it's been a good window from back in the summer. In the first, like you said, we started off like lions and tigers and finished off like crap. But when I say crap, I don't mean crap in a disrespectful way. I mean in terms of the players that we brought in first: Perisic, Basuma, Richarlison, and then we got Longley, Udoji, Forster. Yeah, if it had been the other way round, we might have been thinking different. If we got the lesser players first. But do you know what? Jed Spence, I think he's a very, very good signing. Even though we're not putting him up in that bracket with the first ones that we got, I think he's a very good. He's going to come good for us. I'm telling you.
I mean, look. You look at it in a lots of ways. I think we've had a good window, Ellie. I keep saying
we have. We have. It's just that centre back. I wish we'd got a centre back.
Look, we have
because we've got Romero.
And we've got signed.
We got Longley.
Corey, you keep saying what a disappointed no ambition from Levy, but we've got Romero on a 5-year.
That's his opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, it's his opinion. But this is my.
We respect all opinions, don't we, Dermot? Me and you.
We do, but I'm giving my part. An argument. Of
course.
I'd want to answer the question he's put.
Yeah.
Romero signed a 5-year contract. We've got Longley on loan. We've had a very good window. You looked at this time last year. We couldn't get a manager for our life to manage our club. We went 15th down the paper. Tell you what, let's get Nuno. Look how that turned out. So I understand what you're saying, Corey Boy, but I don't know what you mean. No ambition. Explain. Put in the chat. What do you mean no ambition? Put in the chat what you mean by no. I can understand you're probably disappointed with the transfer window. that's fair enough. But tell me what you mean, no ambition. So just put in there, so we can discuss it, and so we can discuss your point of view why you mean no ambition. I just want to bring our stats lad in.
Hi, Izan.
There you go.
Hello, Ellie. Hello, Brendan.
Do you know what I think of Corey's point? I think he feels that we should have strengthened in the positions that we really needed. Maybe.
Well, we
That's
did,
how.
Ellie.
But I mean, to replace Dyer. That's
Yeah,
what
but
I mean.
Ellie,
Because Longley replaces Davies.
Yeah, but it's
I know
very
he can
hard.
play central as well.
It's very hard to get these transfers in. If a player doesn't want to come, he won't come.
Yeah, but what he's trying to say is that we should have got we should have got someone in. That's what I think he's trying to say. But that doesn't mean we lack ambition, because we have strengthened in a lot of areas.
Yeah, we're down to the last minute of the transfer window. At 30 seconds, I will be putting a 30-second clock countdown.
Yeah,
so,
once it closes, you've got a couple of hours. So we haven't actually signed anybody. So we don't get another couple of hours to sign somebody, do we?
Oh, sorry.
What about the transfer window abroad, Izan?
Hang on, Ellie. 2 minutes.
Is that still open?
Yeah.
It depends on the league.
It's closed.
It's closed.
Done. It's done.
That's it. We haven't got anybody else. I was expecting that.
Lock the door.
I'm not shocked.
Lock the key. Walk out of the door. We don't need you anymore. The summer transfer window of the 2022-23 season has now. So, Ellie, Scotland goes to midnight. And I think, is it 1 o'clock for the European transfer market? Is that?
It depends on the league.
Yeah.
But the window does not close in Scotland until midnight. So we do have if we want to buy any Scottish players, we can. We'd be grand. Shoot up to Scotland, get a plane up there.
Yeah, they're not good enough. Sorry, Scotland, but it's a poor league, isn't it, really?
Well,
Glasgow Rangers and Glasgow Celtic win it all the time. They rotate.
There's only one team in Scotland, Ellie, and that's Glasgow Celtic. Let's be fair.
Yeah, that's who I'm on the side of Celtic as well. Even though Gaza played for Rangers, I still got a soft spot for Celtic.
Every time you mention that name.
Gaza?
No, that other team.
Oh, Rangers, yeah.
Ellie, right, the window's shut now. So really, what I'd like to do probably for the next while is just let's take apart this window.
Take stock.
Opens. Yeah, and let's actually look at the players we actually have bought.
It's 8, isn't it? We bought.
So I'm going to do this. Do this one at a time, right? Ellie, Richarlison. £52.2 million, 60 million euro. We got them from Everton.
Quality signing.
How happy are you with that signing? And out of 10, how much? How happy are you with Richarlison as a signing?
Look, I loved him at Watford. I loved him at Everton. I think he's a fantastic technical player. He's got loads of energy. He brings a lot of drive to our front line. Look at the ball that he did to Kane to set him up. He's got skill, the boy. He's a very good addition. If he adds 10 to 15 goals to our tally this year, that's going to get us over the line. We might not finish first. Let's be realistic, because Man City are way ahead of everybody in terms of their goal power. So it's going to be very difficult. But if we stay on in there, if we hang on in there. we've started now, 11 out of 15. I would have taken that at the beginning of the season. I would have thought we would have beaten West Ham, but it didn't happen. But Richarlison, I'll give him 9 out of 10 for what he's done so far.
Yeah,
He's been very good.
This for me, Ellie, you're going to like this one. It's
Yeah.
Shamo. He says, Dermot, will you be adding Winks Watch to the segment to see how cracky he is in Italy? We're leaving that to Izan to do. Izan is on Winky Watch to see how cracky he does.
Oh my God!
I think
Nodon scored the screecher, by the way. Did you see Nodon goal? Bloody hell.
That actually infuriated me, to be fair.
I know.
Why have you not done that for us?
Do you know what I mean?
They were playing an Italian third division side at the time, so
yeah, true.
Here we go. This is Corey Boyce. Right, we're all gonna have a say in this. I'll start with you, Ellie. Then I'll go to you. I'll actually start with Izan and then you, Ellie, and then myself. So Izan, Corey Boy 85 says smoke screens and mirrors lied to again by Levy 150 million on and off the pitch just to get us all happy. What do you say, Corey Boy? And good question, actually, so I have to say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what do you mean smoke screens and mirrors lied to again by Levy? Did Levy come out and say that we're going to sign this player, we're going to spend this much, we're going to do this and this? How can you be lied to by Levy? It's not like the club are publishing statements that we're going to do this and this and this. So I don't know how you can say that Levy lied to you, Levy or the club lied to you, because they're not coming out with statements detailing what we're going to do in the transfer window. I think that's just a personal thing. If you had those expectations and the club didn't meet it, it's not on the club because the club didn't promise us anything. And another thing, 150 million for on and off the pitch. That's 150 million cash injection. That doesn't mean that all that money is going to go into the transfer budget or we're going to spend that much in wages. They're running the club. It's not in their best interest to reveal to everyone what they plan to do with that money. They're not going to tell other clubs what their transfer strategy is. So I don't see how them investing money or them supposedly putting up smoke screens or lying to us, because I don't really think they lied to us. I think they put in that 150 million. We'll use it later down the line, perhaps new training facilities, things like that. But yeah, I just don't think that they lied to us. It's okay to feel a little disappointed, but to say that Levy lied to us when the club didn't promise us anything, I feel that's really unfair.
And look, when the statement put out in the summer about the 150 injection, I mean, they've only injected in the 50 was 100 million's only been taken out of the bank. 50 million still yet to be used. The 100 million was supposed to be used for what you told me, for the women's side of the game, for transfers, for other bits and pieces, for the club in general.
Yeah.
Now, we have spent 140. I think it's 123 million pounds. I don't know if you can find that. How much?
Have you included Romero's one in that as well?
And then Romero on top of that.
131 million euros.
131 million. Is that including Romero?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's including. So we've signed one of the top.
That's the net spend. That's the net spend. The amount we've just purchased 169.9 million euros, 170 million euros if you want to round up.
So we've signed one of the best defenders in the world to a 5-year contract to our club. We've got to sign Daigle. We've still got to sign Bentancur, which they will do.
Bentancur has been signed. He was bought.
So it's only Thfc's got to be signed. So Ellie, you look at the players we bought in, Richarlison. You look at Spence. You look at Longley on loan with I think there's an obligation to buy. I mean,
Longley, there's no option to buy. It's a straight loan.
Oh, is it just a straight loan?
Straight loan, yeah.
So do you agree with Corey Ball's smoke scenes and mirrors? Do you feel you've been lied to by the club?
No, I don't, because they made it clear that they're going to be spending money on other ventures as well, not just transfers. They didn't specifically say we're spending 150 million baht on transfers. Then I would say, yeah, they've lied to us, but they haven't. They've been open about it and they've published everything. If anybody wants to read it, you can get hold of it. Just go to the club's website and look at where they spent the money. But the thing is, maybe in the past, yes, but this time I've got to come on side of Levy because he's been completely transparent and he said that he's going to allocate all these different monies to different ventures. So I don't know, but I think it's what people read into it is because they've got this agenda against Levy, right? But the thing is, I had an agenda against him as well, but I can't have an agenda against him for this one because he's been completely honest. Yeah.
I mean, look, I know the likes of Don Bellier and the Celso have gone out on loan, right? We know that. Redmond's gone on a loan. I think he's going to, but that's an obligation to buy that regularly.
Yeah, it is an obligation to buy with Atletico, and he'll probably end up there as well. Look, I don't see him coming back.
Look, I've said this before, and I say it again. Last year, I was very much, look, Levy out. He's got to get out of our club. He's got to do this. He's no good for our club. Look, if you sit back and think about it, on the sugar, we nearly went bankrupt in the 89, 90, 91, around that time.
Yeah.
We were waking up, me and Ellie especially, were waking up every morning having still got a club to support.
I know. I was sick to death of it.
It's going to take you time. We had Sugar then came in to get the finances in order, right? We had bad times in the 90s with bad managers, bad players coming in. You cannot blame, you can blame the chairman if the club's been run badly, right? And there's been mistakes by Levy over the 22 years, and people say 1 trophy in 22 years. Well, yeah, you could say that, but we got to a League Cup final in 2009. We lost on penalty. A kick here or a kick there would have won that. We got to FA Cup semi-finals. We got to a League Cup final under Poch. We got to a Champions League final under Poch.
The Champions League final was the pinnacle.
Yeah, on the upside of that, you could have said, well, Levy should have backed Poch. And the 3 transfer winners, we didn't buy somebody. Yeah, that was a mistake. So you can agree with that.
Yeah.
But since Conte's come in, he's done everything he promised Conte to do. He's backed him in. Can you tell me the last time we got 6 players in or 7 players in before pre-season? I can't remember the last time. I don't think Ellie can.
I think he could have been backed a little bit more. Just a couple of more players. It would have been lovely if a couple of more players. Because remember, 2 of those players we're not using, are we?
But you can say we could have backed a couple of players. If players don't want to come to
in
the club,
in the key positions, that's what I mean.
Yeah, but we don't.
Because I don't like Dyer. Yeah.
No, I don't like Dyer. I don't like Sanchez. But look, we're stuck with them
No,
to January.
We are.
Conte seems to like them. So, look, as long as Conte's happy, I'm happy. That's
because they work. Look, they work hard on the training ground. There's no doubt about that. They impress Conte in that way. But when it comes to match day, they're a liability, both of them.
Yeah,
and we're lucky. We're lucky we've got Romero, and we're lucky we've got other players who are chipping in and getting the balls out.
Corey, you can include the Romero because we actually paid it out of this transfer budget. So you can include it. Is included. Within
and another thing is that when people say you can't include Romero, as that was from the last budget, when I say that Kulusevski, we bought him for 40 million euros, people say no, we didn't buy him yet. That's not from that's not from this year's transfer budget. That'll be from later on. The money's still in our account. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say that, Romero was bought out of last year's budget and, Kulusevski is not, bought from this year's budget. So yeah, that's just one thing I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Brian's.
Is up and
Yeah,
go.
it's that basically because we haven't strengthened the squads. You know, we should
I
have
look,
really strengthened with a couple of more. We should
yeah, but
have.
it's all right. You saying we could have strengthened a couple of more, but if players don't want to come, you can't just drag them to the club. If we're
Yeah.
going after players
But
and we're going
why wouldn't they want to come to Spurs? We're
well, but Spurs,
eighth richest club in the world. In
yeah, but
some circles, we're seventh. They're going to get paid very well. They've got a fantastic fan base who adore them. We've got a glorious history. That they should be begging to come to Spurs.
but they're not. I mean,
But it's maybe because we didn't get our targets. This is what I think. We didn't get our first choice. We didn't get our second choice. So we're not going to go for the third and fourth, which is good business in a way, because you think you settle with third or fourth, you're getting third or fourth best. Yeah. So I think January is that's when we're going to get the two or three players that we needed just to give us that edge, like I said earlier, that Liverpool did when they put one or two players in, and it makes a massive difference. It does.
I mean, you look at the signings, Ellie. I mean, look, we bought Richarlison. We've got Romero now signed up, as I said. We've got Basuma, who bossed the field last year against us in the FA Cup against
He
Moura.
did. He wasn't good against West Ham though yesterday.
He'll come good.
He'll come good. He was just nervous. It was his debut.
Yeah, but he
in a
has come on
hostile
the
crowd.
substitutes. So he has come on the substitutes, and
yeah, he's listen. It was his first real start, and he had a lot of pressure on him. When he plays at White Hart Lane on Saturday, you're going to see a different Basuma. Because I think he will keep his place. Actually,
I think he will. I mean, you've got this young lad who's come back to Udinese, who will come back.
Udoji, yeah. Is that how you pronounce it? Udoji.
Yeah.
Udoji. I'm so excited about this player. I am so excited about Spence. I really am. You watch him go. He's our next Kyle Walker. I swear to God, he will be.
Conte's getting him up to speed.
Yeah, Perisic. Yeah. I mean, what a good left-sided midfielder.
Excellent.
Another great player. And we've actually got a proper, I think, backup goalkeeper to Luis in Fraser Foster.
Yeah. I hate the fans. Not I hate them, but I don't like it when they say Perisic is 33, he's not the same player. What he's done for Spurs is more than any other player that we've signed, because he's contributed. Look at those fantastic crosses he's put in for us that have led to goals. You know, he only has to do 2 or 3 things good, and he's made an impact. Because those 2 or 3 things good that he does are world class.
Right, I just want to read this out from Brian Daigle. Big up, Brian. I hope you're well, man.
Brian's a legend.
Every window with every manager, there's
Brian.
an excuse from this board for why we have failed our transfer window. Yet the fans pay the highest price season tickets, price merchandise, and of course his famous words. Look,
it's true. It's what he's saying.
It's true. I honestly don't think we failed Conte on this one. I honestly don't. I think Conte is the type of manager, if you weren't going to back him, he would say so. He did that at Chelsea.
He'd leave.
He did that at Inter Milan. And look, when he left Chelsea, look at the press conference when he was leaving Chelsea. I mean, that should tell what sort of... And then the Inter Milan, when they weren't going to match his budget for transfer, he walked out.
Yeah.
So I can understand Brian from previous, like from the time on the Poch, and then we had the debacle with Jose Mourinho and all that. Yet, I say it again, there's times over the years, I agree Levy has done bad. But I think for this window, I think since we bought in Bentancur, we bought in Thfc in January, we've bought in the players we bought in. Let's also not forget Steve Hitchen made them complete bollocks of our scouting network, and that's the whole that side of the club. So it's taken Paratici time to get out all this deadwood and get out
all
the
the
players that
crap.
are not wanted, and Conte as well, to build a new scouting network, to build a new sort of transfer part of the club. Now, Brian, you are right in what you're saying, but I think this window is a bit different. I think we've got our business done early. I think the problem is the business was done early and we're all excited. It started like a lion and we've finished like a lamb.
Yeah,
But I think also, I think we somebody else said it. We put all the eggs in one basket for Bastoni. There was no plan B. But I genuinely think, as Sean said as well, the Champions League draw as well had something to do with it. And Conte hasn't come out and said he's unhappy with what we've done. So,
yeah,
but look, I respect you, Brian. You know I respect your opinion. I respect what you're saying, and I'll never ever disrespect what you're saying. I think you're a top
yeah,
bloke. You
yeah.
and everyone, please get over to Tottenham on tour and hit
We
that like
think the world of Brian.
we do.
Do you
So,
know, I just wanted to add something just before I forget. Notoriously, Italian players hardly ever come to the Premier League to play. There's only been a handful of Italian players that I can think of in the last 10 years who've come to play in England. It's usually French and Spanish and a couple of Germans, but not many. The German and the Italian leagues, they don't tend to come to England for some reason, but other leagues do, especially the French and the Spanish. We get a lot of players, and the Portuguese recently, because of Wolves, Man United has signed, Liverpool signed a few. We even signed a few Portuguese players, but they didn't work out for us. But you see what I mean? They like Italy. They like the lifestyle. They like the style of play. It's more relaxed. The Premiership is very hectic, fast flowing. You know, some Italians don't like that sort of football.
no, and to be honest, Jelly, as I said before, I mean, you can forget 22 years, but I think he's tried this window. I honestly do.
Yeah,
I mean, even you said that. I think was it you that said it in the stream somewhere that I don't know. I read it somewhere that somebody said he's tried, and if you look at it in that way, Conte's already said it's going to take two windows for us to be competitive anyway.
yeah,
So we've had a good summer window. We've got players in. We've got decent players in. We just have to wait and see. But big up, Brian. Thank you for the comment, and keep up the good work, sir. We've got
yeah.
Corey, Carl. What I'm saying, there is better players out there, and so Izan, what do you reckon of the players we've got in? I mean, are you happy?
Yeah, I like basically every player that we've signed. I feel that they have a lot to offer. I think that they have a lot of upside, and I think that these are the players that Conte wanted. If we were signing players that Conte didn't want, he would have been gone by now. He would have been gone a while ago. So I think that this is Conte's realistic. He's not going to go ask Levy, hey, go, let's spend 100 million more pounds. Like we know that's not going to happen. We know that's unrealistic. But I think Conte was given reasonable promises by Levy, and I think Levy has delivered on those promises.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go to Basuma. Out. We
yeah.
got him from Brighton and Hove Albion for £26.28 million.
Very good signing.
Outplayed us in the FA Cup last season. He's done well when he came on. Okay, didn't have the greatest games last night, to be fair.
No, you can forgive him one bad game.
Are you happy with our midfield now? Are you happy with the players we've got in midfield?
I am, because they're all solid midfielders. We've got a lot more to come from them as well. Bentancur's very classy. Boyce steady. You know, he'll do some good passes forward as well. Contrary to belief, he does pass forward. He's our most progressive player next to Kane. I think he's second behind Kane in progressive passes. But there's maybe because I was a midfielder. I've said this before. But I was a midfielder. I was an attacking, creative midfielder. I think we need somebody like that to drive us forward. Because the players that we've got, they're all much of the muchness. I just think we need someone with a bit of flair, a little bit more flair to their game. Someone who can create as well and score goals from midfield. It would have been nice to get some player, like someone like Ziyech or Maddison or Tielemans. Maybe Maddison and Ziyech would have been the best bets because they score goals. They're proven. They've scored goals wherever they've played. So, I'm just a bit disappointed about that. And obviously the centre-back, which I've already mentioned. And that's it, really, because I think Jed Spence will eventually be our right wing-back. He'll own that position. Yeah.
Look, to be honest with you, Ellie, I think we have to not start. Look, the window's shut now. There's nothing we can do about it.
No.
There's nothing we can do about it. That we can't buy any, but we can start looking to January. All right. I said in the chat to Dave's, and I said, look, we've got players that are injured. We got the new players haven't settled in yet, but we're still third in the league. We're still unbeaten.
Yeah.
Now you wait till all them players come back from injury. You wait till them other players settle in. You watch us go.
I know.
And also, people seem to forget we played 2 of our hardest away games already this season. West Ham away, Chelsea away. So we're 8 points up than we were that season. So there is a lot of positives about. And I understand people are disappointed we didn't sign anyone today. We didn't get a centre-back. We should have done more. But we're not playing FIFA. We're not playing Football Manager. It's not like going out to a shop and picking up a can of beans or a can of bananas. I'll get them now. There's a lot of work that goes into these transfers. So, Ellie, my question to you is this. Look, if you were looking outside, looking in, right? I mean, wouldn't you think that Conte would have said something by now if you had been hypothetical? That if he wasn't happy, said something last night?
He sort of hinted, but he's not really gone full pelt at it. But he said if one goes out, one has to come in, because that's what he was saying about Brian Hill. If we get him out, then we got to have one in. And I think because he stayed, they're not going to replace him. So I think he's hinted at it that he wants a few. What manager and coach doesn't want more players? Of course he does. But the thing is, with Conte, he can turn average players into good players. We've seen it with Davis, and he's made us hard to beat. We're not attractive to watch at the moment, but he's made us very hard to beat. And I think we've gone 14 games unbeaten. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So it's a stepping stone, right? Like you said earlier, Rome wasn't built in a day. We've got to be patient. We've signed some very good players. Obviously, we need a little bit strengthening in the back. We haven't seen Longley yet, which is we haven't seen Spence only for 5 minutes. So, onwards and upwards. We've got to be positive. Then January's not far away as well. We've got October, November, December, January, and then we're in it. And remember, the World Cup comes. So there's going to be a whole month where there's going to be no football.
That's another question as well, Ellie, I wanted to ask you. And I want to ask Gizem first, if that's okay, and then I'll bring you back in, because it's all part of the same question. Is Conte looking at this as a 2-part season, like this now to the World Cup, and then after the World Cup, a second-part season? Because we've never had this winter break sort of stop before, have we? So do you think that's what he's looking at? Look, I'll get these players to get me in so far, and then in January we'll go again.
Yeah, I think the Champions League draw had a lot to do with it, where let's be honest, we got a really good draw. We have
Yeah.
a very strong chance of finishing top of our group. So
Yeah,
I felt the the board and the management believe that, look, we don't really need to sign anyone. Let's not spend unnecessary money that we don't have to. And you know, they felt that the squad, it should be good enough. And then in January we'll see how the squad gels together, whether there's injuries, what the issues are, and then we'll see what we need, identify problems, and then go from there. So I do think that they've the board and the management have analyzed you know uh, what we need to do, and they're gonna do it in winter or after the World Cup. See what
Mhm.
we need.
I am starring some of these comments for when we go
yeah,
through the players because I want to get the guy's opinion on some of these comments. So if I bring you
yeah.
up and I don't do that, it doesn't mean I'm not interested in the comment. I'm starring them so I can bring them up and we can talk about them and debate them. And
That's it.
all right, so Carl Simpsons, I'll go to you first in a minute. Also, I want to welcome in Has Spurs TV.
All right,
Big,
Harry,
big up.
another
Thank you for
Cypriot
joining.
boy.
And he actually makes a very good point. So I'll go for that one second.
He
Then Corey Boy
does. A good
brings up his
lad.
point. That's a very good point. But I am starring them and I will get back to them. So please don't think I'm ignoring them. I'm not. Izan,
Mm.
I'll go with you now. Jed Spence. For me, I really like him. I mean, I want to say to, where is it now? This is one of Corey's boys' ones. He said, one good season in the championship doesn't mark you out to be a quality right wing back for the Prem. Conte didn't want him, but it's like, okay, this is what I have to take. That was a Levy player, not a Conte player. Well, I think Conte had come out and said he wanted him. Paratici had been, and Conte had been scouting him. So I think they have come out and said they were happy with Spence coming in.
Hmm.
You know, I don't know if I'm right, Ellie or Izan. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what was said. Am I right in that, Ellie? Or
Um, what was said is that it's a club signing, but
He
he
said the
doesn't
club.
Yeah, it was a
Basically,
club signing, wasn't it?
what was said,
Go on, Izan.
the specific words that he used was the club wanted him. I think people interpreted that as, oh, Levy wanted him,
mm,
like the club is something else. But and like people are sort of misinterpreting it. I think what he meant by the club wanted him was we wanted him, like
mm,
we as the club wanted him. I don't think he means like the board or
mm,
Levy wanted him. He meant that the club wanted him, us as a collective wanted him.
mm,
So yeah, I think a lot of those quotes were taken out of context and just to like
mm.
fan the flames, I guess.
Yeah, Ellie. I mean, I'll read this
Yeah,
and I'll let
because
you know. Sorry, go on.
I saw his press conference about it, and he
Mm,
said that he's one for the future, and we have to bring him into the team
mm,
and basically nurture him.
mm.
Because remember, he's only 21, but
Yeah.
he's got tons of potential,
Mm,
and I just feel that he needs a chance because on that right hand side, we're weak going forward unless it gets to Kulu. And because Emerson's been told to stay back
mm,
and not venture forward too many times, he does venture forward sometimes, but when he does, it normally ends up with a very poor cross. All right, lately he's been putting in good crosses,
mm,
but it's generally very poor. So I feel Jed Spence would offer a lot more going forward,
mm.
and he's lightning, the
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing. There is a quote here that I have to show.
Yeah,
Corey, can you please stop putting them words in? Um, Maybe it's okay for you to say what you've said. I won't bring up the comment because I don't think it's fair. Um, I understand what you're trying to say, but for you bringing up something that might trigger you, you're actually sort of triggering me. So can you, if you want to make a comment, that's fine. Make the comment. I don't mind. You're entitled to your opinion. You can come in here and make an opinion. That is your right. That's everyone's right. You come onto any channel. Me, Ellie, Izan, Philip Brady, Mark Cousins. We will answer everybody's comment on this channel. But for you to come in and say what you said, can you please stop that? We're here having a debate. I understand where you're coming from, but put your comment in, but please be a bit mindful what you're putting in, because it can also, I've put filters in place that I look at some of the comments that don't come on automatically, and I can't put that in, and I'm sorry. So can you please be careful what you put in the comments a bit further. I'm sorry, Ellie, you need to take over in 5 minutes. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry.
That's all right. I was just thinking, Izan, about Jed Spence again. I feel Conte will get him up to speed. He can see the potential in him, and I feel that he will be unleashed in the cup competitions more to see how he goes. And I like him. I liked what I saw, right? Because the energy that he provides and the speed, it's exciting to watch. I don't know. Emerson tends to stop and start, doesn't he? He's not a very confident player to take on a player, whereas Spence is. And I want to see someone like that. Because on the other side, we've got Perisic, who's just putting it on the money, and, he's world-class passing. And then on that side, we're weak. Unless it gets to Kulu, we're weak. And then Kulu's being marked more stringently this year, isn't he? They're paying attention to him more. Even West Ham in the second half, they were blocking so many of these things because they know how he plays, and they've watched him, obviously, that he cuts in on his left, and they were blocking a lot of his shots. So I don't know. What do you think, Izan? Do you think he deserves a start?
With Spence, to be honest, Emerson has been performing in the games.
Yeah,
so
he's
I,
been
I, I
good,
don't think,
defensively especially.
yeah, I don't think it's fair to drop Emerson. But yeah, I think with Spence, he's probably gonna have to wait until like an FA Cup game or Carabao Cup game to get his start, unless Emerson drops like a shocker.
Yeah,
But
a clanger.
the way he's performing,
He hasn't done it.
I don't think he will. Especially against Fulham, a weaker team. I think he'll have a decent enough game. So yeah, with Spence, he's exciting because I think he's a very he's a bit raw. I think like he has the attributes, he has the physicality, he has the speed.
Yeah.
He can in a guy. I just think he needs more refinement, and I think
Yeah,
that's what Conte was alluding to. So I really hope that
yeah,
he can
I
come good
agree.
for us, because he could be a Kyle Walker
Yeah.
type player who loves to bomb forward with the ball.
Ellie,
Yeah,
right, sorry, Ellie.
it's all right.
Just want to say,
No
yeah,
problem.
UK, you're all right, Corey boy. Just be careful what you say in future, please. That's all I ask. We will debate
Yeah, okay,
anything
Corey.
within reason.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ellie. Sorry, Izan. Just need
It's
5
all right.
minutes.
No worries.
No problem. No problem, darling.
JC, good evening. I did like this bit. It made me giggle when I saw it first. That's why I started, because the supermodel me, I don't know if he's comparing me to a supermodel. If he is, I'm very pleased, but I'm a bit worried you're looking at me like that. But big up, JC. He says, good evening. I'm not going to put a dress on a pig and call it a supermodel, Dermot. I don't know. I thought it looked a bit like Samantha Fox back in the day. You never know. Ellie knows what I'm on about when I said that, and I think some of the...
Yeah.
The job has not been done properly when it needed to. The board are bluffers, answering to the biggest spoofer ever. Ellie, I'll give you that. What do you say to JC?
The biggest. It's made me laugh. Just put it that way. Yeah, because this board, they haven't had the best reputation in the past. They've let us down, and we've been waiting to transfer deadline day, and it's. I think what I think fans are alluding to is because he's lit us down so many times and the board have lit us down so many times that they look at this transfer window and not getting anybody else over the line as letting us down. But when you think about it, they brought in good players. They're not world beaters, but Perisic was a very good signing. Basuma was a very good signing. And Richarlison, Longley we're yet to see. Spence was a club signing. Hash, we're not going to see him yet because he's not quite ready. So you can see what they're getting at, but you've got to look at the positives as well because we have strengthened. And what I heard about the bench being weak, we didn't have anybody on the bench to change the game. Well, I listened to Conte's press conference and he said the only one he could really bring on to affect the game was Richarlison because Skip's not quite ready. We didn't have Moura, we didn't have Bentancur, and we were maybe if we made a few more signings, it might have been better. You see what I mean? Because then we might have had another winger or another striker to bring on. You know, apart from Richarlison.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the chat while I put into Dave's show just to give it a bit of context to what you're saying, Ellie. And then I can't find it now. Izan, what do you say to JC's point there? I mean, it's a very good point he's making, but what do you make to it?
Well, I don't think Levy is the biggest spoofer ever. I know he's saying that hyperbolically, but yeah, look, we can always have more. Like I remember that there was an interview with Mourinho where he was asked, "Are you happy with your squad?" And he says, "No manager is happy with their squad because you always want more. Like you always want another player." But look, I think that we do have enough attacking options. We have Richarlison, Lucas, and we also have Brian Hill as well off the bench. So I think there are options. We were dealing with quite a few injuries. Skip still isn't fit yet. Doherty still isn't fit yet. And yeah, we also have Pape Sarr, who looks to be a talented player. There's a lot of options off the bench for us. So like I do get your point that the complete job isn't done, but it wasn't all going to happen in one window. We shouldn't just look to sign players for the sake of signing them. We must be in the market for only the correct players. So yeah, I do get your point. I do agree with it somewhat, but to caveat that, I think that it wasn't all going to happen in one window to complete the squad and go all in. It's just not realistic.
Ellie, what do you say to Corey Boy's comment here? Lucas is not a good player. He averages 3 goals a year.
I think he's a good player. He is a good player. You don't always judge players by goals and assists because he does contribute to the side. Whenever I've seen Lucas, he does affect games. He might not get the assist. He might be in the build-up to the assist, but I think he is a good player. I've always liked Lucas as a player. I think he brings a lot to our side. Whether he's world class, no, he's not. He's not world class, but he's a good player to bring off the bench, and he'll always give 100%. I like him. I've always had a soft spot for Lucas, even before the Champions League hat-trick.
Ellie, I mean, does Ajax still playing you? Has he still got bonus points?
No, it doesn't because Lucas will never be a top goal scorer.
No.
He's more of a link player. He dribbles a lot as well. He likes to take on a player. He takes risks. That's the Brazilian in him. But, I always feel that people give him a downer because they think, all he done was score a hat-trick in the Champions League. But he's done more than that. He's contributed to our club. And I know we can get better. But he's a good bench player and he's a good squad player. It's always good to have him off the bench.
It is. He's never ever. I've always loved seeing him play Lucas. To be fair, myself, my own opinion, Lucas has always been one of my favourite players. So, I don't think. I think he's a good player. I think he averages more than 3 goals a year, though.
Yeah, maybe 5.
5. Yeah. But
yeah,
look,
maybe
again,
5.
that's opinion. So we don't all like the same
It's
players.
your opinion.
It's your opinion. This one is for you. 2 from Shamu for you is this is about your favourite player. And he says the first part of it is, how many goals and assists will Winks get in Serie A? And will the Serie A midfielder, and will he be Serie A midfielder of the year? Last I heard, Chris is now a Sampdoria fan. So how many goals will he get? How many goals will he get in this season for Sampdoria?
We'll have to get Chris.
A conservative estimate, probably 20 goal contributions, 20 goals or assists. That's a conservative estimate. I don't mean to disrespect Harry Winks. Will he be the Serie A midfielder of the year? No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think he'll probably be the Serie A player of the year, let alone midfielder.
Or win the Ballon d'Or. and then he said, this for me is quote. This to me is the quote of the night. It's brilliant. It's imagine your midfield being that bad that you have to own in Harry Winks, thinking he'll make a difference.
Well,
they don't know what they've got.
Or a club that battles relegation, usually. So I guess their midfield really is that bad.
Did you see him? Did you see him coming into the airport, guys? And he actually walked sideways out of the entrance. Do you know the big thing? You come in, he literally walked sideways, and he was looking like this. I nearly fell off my chair laughing. It was the most.
He's a sidewinder. The thing is, do you know what? Sometimes Winks showed promise, didn't he? Like I remember against Real Madrid, he had a really good game, and then we thought, we got a really good little midfielder here, and then he just went backwards, literally passing backwards and sideways.
Right, right. We're going back down to earth now. We've left Winky Land. Now back to reality. The radio made.
We should get Chris a ticket to Winky Land. He'll like that.
That sounds very rude, Ellie. But coming from you, it doesn't surprise me. This one's for you, Izan. I'm doing all these sort of things to you. You're more.
Yeah, no worries. I love answering them.
Yeah. Corey Boyce says, can't happen in one window. I actually do have an answer to this one as well. So, can't happen in one window. Forest 23 in 200 million spent. Chelsea addressed the problems they knew was going to happen. United, wow, the players they have brought in, damn. Right, on the Forest thing, they had to get all the players in because all the players they had last season to get up, they've all gone back to their clubs. So they've had to get more players in to cover the players they lost. So that's why Forest have actually brought in 23 players because it didn't have any players. Most of the players that went in have now gone back to their parents' clubs. So that's why Forest brought in 23 players. Before we come to you, Ellie, what can you say to Corey Boy here? I mean, what do you say to him?
Can't happen in one window. Forest 23.
To answer it first and let you.
Because I can
do pounds. They haven't spent 200 million pounds. I think it's closer to 150.
Right, and Chelsea addressing the problems they knew was going to happen. United, wow, the place they have bought in.
Okay, yeah. Also, with Forest, the reason they had to completely overhaul their squad was, well, first of all, they had players in on loan, like James Garner, a lot of players who've returned. Secondly, Nottingham Forest's promotion to the Premier League was very surprising because for a period of time, they were actually last in the Championship. They only got in through the play-in game. If they were to go into the Premier League season with the squad they had, they would be slaughtered 4-0 every single game because even by championship standards, their squad is not that strong. Teams like Fulham and Bournemouth had the strongest squads in the championship. We saw
Yeah.
Bournemouth smacked 9-0. Nottingham Forest had a weaker squad than Bournemouth, much weaker squad than Bournemouth. So that's why they had to overhaul their team. That's why they spent so much
Yeah.
money, 150 million for promotion. So that's why, to have any hope of staying up, they had to do what they did. Okay, so that's not a
Yeah.
fair comparison at all. We're not a team that's just being promoted. With
And
Chelsea,
and they still got smacked
Mhm.
by 6 to Man
Yeah.
City.
They still got but to be fair, City can do that to any team. To be
Yeah,
fair,
they can. Just
but
hopefully not to us.
I think they should just give the championship to City now, because I think that the team could be a bit, to be fair.
and yeah,
Yeah, they
with
should just give it
Chelsea,
to them.
the
Yeah.
reason Chelsea have spent so much is because they lost their entire back line. They lost so many players. They had to replace all their defenders because they all suddenly left. Alonso, Christensen, Rudiger, they all left their team. So obviously they need to bring in replacements. Secondly, the reason they spent so much is because Todd Boyle bought the team under market value. So Chelsea's market value price was around 2.5 billion to 2.7 billion. Because of what
Yeah.
happened with Abramovich, don't want to get into it, but we all know what happened, the sanctions and everything. He had to sell the club for below market value. So Todd Boyle was able to buy Chelsea for 2.2 billion. The money that he saved is now being invested into the club, but I can guarantee this, it won't continue forever, because eventually he's going to want to have a return on his investment. 2.2 billion is a lot of money to spend. He is going to want to have a return on his investment eventually. Thirdly, with Manchester United, they have so much money. It's not really fair to compare um, Spurs and United, because they're possibly the biggest team in England, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and they have
They
arguably
are.
overspent for their players. They have the highest wage bill in the Premier League by a long shot, and they've won nothing for the past, how many, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years
Si-
now?
Since Mourinho was there,
Yeah,
and they won the Europa Cup and
yeah. So
I think they
6 or
won the
7 years.
League Cup. Was
Yeah,
it? Yeah,
and the
they
Community
beat
Shield.
us in the League Cup.
So 6 or 7 years, and they've spent way more than us. They've overpaid for the likes of Anthony. They've overpaid for Casemiro. He's 30 years old on insane wages. So with
Yeah.
United, I don't think that's fair. Like, you can say, look how much money they've spent. Have they spent it well? I mean, we finished above them last season, so we should be
Yeah.
in a better position. So I don't get why the grass is always greener on the other side, is all I'll say.
Yeah, Ellie, big up his Brilliant. And I hope, Corey, that answered your question. I hope that was. I hope you
Well
enjoyed
done,
it, because I
Izan.
did listening to it. Me and Ellie are like an organ.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Thanks. Right.
I know.
This one's for you, Ellie.
Oh,
Corey
down to
Boyce
you.
said, then our skill is not prem quality. Lucas's toilet, apart from you UEFA Champions League run 4 years ago, hasn't done anything, and it's in his stats. You can see them. What do you say to Corey Boy in that?
I wouldn't say. Look, I was a midfielder, and played on the wing. I can see a lot of potential in Gil. He just needs to bulk up. He needs to build himself up so he can't get knocked off the ball so easily, and he'll be just fine. But Conte will have his strengthening team on him, like they did with Sessegnon. I saw Sessegnon was doing lots of strength exercises. But the thing is, he'll improve players. Conte's noted for it. He turned Victor Moses into a world beater when he was at Inter Milan, right? And he was just above average. But in terms of Lucas, I like him. I think he's a good player. He's not toilet. Come on, that's a bit harsh, right? I think he's a good player. He's not a brilliant player, but he's a good player, and he does try hard for the team. He's Mr. Spurs, I call him, because he works hard for the team, and he's always puts himself about. You know, he doesn't go missing. Very, very, very few times he's gone missing in a match. But I know his confidence has been knocked because he's out of the squad. Out of the team, and he's back onto the bench. So That can't be easy for him to stomach.
No.
What was the other player he said?
And he said, where is it now? Oh yeah, he said Gil is not and Lucas is toilet
Oh yeah,
from the
I addressed
yeah.
Gill. Yeah, Hill's got potential.
Mm.
Obviously, you can't say he's not Prem quality because we haven't even seen him in the Prem. So how can we judge him? Once he gets his chance, and he will get a chance. Hopefully, we'll see a more bulked up Hill.
Mm.
Let's get him to at least 11 stone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I just say,
yeah,
Ellie, got a bit of breaking news. We
yeah.
never
Go
have
on.
to worry about Dan James again for the rest of the season. He is now signed for Fulham on loan. Thank the
So
Lord.
yeah, but he might play against us on Saturday,
I don't
isn't
care.
it?
We don't have to watch him every week, Ellie. So let's
No, we
praise
don't
the
have to
Lord.
watch
He's
him
gone
every
to
week.
Fulham.
Thank
Yeah.
God.
Imagine he scores a hat trick against us.
Oh
If
Lord
he
Jesus,
scored for Leeds when
He
we beat
did.
them 2-1.
that's true. As for me, look, I like Gil. I think Gil will become a brilliant player. I think he just needs a bit of.
He's got a lot of skill, the
He's
boy.
got a lot of talent. I think he needs buffing up,
Yeah.
a bit, bulking up a bit. As for calling Lucas Toilet, I don't agree with that. I think Lucas is a good player. He's done good for
Yeah.
us in the past. He does when he does come on. He does a job for us. Conte trusts him, and he's been probably one of our best players. He would, consistently over the last 4 years. So, but again, everyone has different players to like. But you watch Hill go.
Yeah. I
Somebody
think
I don't.
Corey's looking at the stats too much. Dembele didn't score.
Mm,
Would you agree Dembele was a brilliant player?
Dembele
He
was a
scored
load of
7
shit.
goals for Spurs,
But
right? And
Ellie,
Victor Moses scored 18 goals, so that's
he's our
9 more
record.
than Dembele.
He's our club record signing, and he refused
Yeah,
to come off the pitch when he was substituted. Gill
that's
is a,
right.
um,
Listen, players, Basuma doesn't score. Does that
mm,
make him a bad player?
yeah. JC's. Have we discussed JC's comment?
No, we haven't.
No, we're doing it now because I know he put. Thanks for discussing my comment. I appreciate it because I don't know if we did or not, but we're going to discuss it again, just in case. He says we were spooned, lads, by 150 million. We apparently had. We all fell for it. 2 free transfers, a punt, and a grossly overpaid 60 million for Richarlison. That's nearly 2 grabby. Jesus. Go on, stats lad. Izan, what do you say to JC?
Well, first of all, I don't get how we were spoofed by 150 million. They never promised us that all that money would go into transfers and wages for players. It clearly said on and off the pitch.
Hmm.
That was a nice comment. But
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
we'll come back to that in the start.
okay, yeah.
JC.
But yeah, look, they didn't promise that
Mm.
all that money would go into transfers. They never said that. If you were spoofed, that was your own expectations. So with the 150 million, look, they put it into the club. It's not in their interest to reveal it to other people, to other clubs. No one really reveals their transfer strategy or what the club is planning to do. So
Hmm.
yeah, I don't get how we were spoofed, and with Richarlison, yeah, I do get the point that yes, we maybe overpaid for him, but look, he's a really good player. He's Premier League proven, and Gabriel Jesus was 45 million pounds. So and Richarlison is 50 million pounds plus 10 million in add-ons. So I don't really think that we overpaid for him too much. I think that was a good bit of business. A lot of clubs wanted him. Chelsea wanted him, but he came to us instead. So yeah.
I will. I'm coming up to.
I like that comment. I wish I was 11 stone.
Do you know what? Last time I was 11 stone, I can't bloody remember. Izan here. Where is it? Where is it now? I got to bring it up. Shimu put big up Izan. I'm going down the bookies now. Putting $500 on Weeks to get 17 goals and assists. What do you say to What do you say to Longley? Has to start now for Davis and Dye from Carl Simpson. Big up, Carl. What would I mean for me? I think he was brought in for cover for Davis, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So for me, if he's fit, I think we might see him Saturday. And I'm really excited to see Longley because I think he's going to be really good for us. Ellie, Longley has to start now for Davis or Dye. Do you agree?
Well, I said it earlier. Yeah, I want to see him. I want to see how he blends into the team. What's the point of keeping him on the bench? He's only going to get less fit. You need to. There's a difference between training fit and match fit. A big difference. So if you don't play him in matches, he's never going to get that match fitness, and he's going to go stagnant. And when he does get his chance, he's not going to be up to speed because he's not got that fitness. You've got to give him the matches. Even pre-season, we should have been giving him more time. But I know somebody said he did have an injury, but what sort of injury did he have? I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But even so, he looks like he's put him on the bench now, so he can't be carrying an injury.
No.
And he doesn't bring him on when we clearly had a problem down that left side because they were pressing that left side, and that's where they got their goal. So I was very disappointed, but I just want to see him on against Fulham. And if he doesn't get on from the start, I want to see him come on for either Davis or Perisic, one of the two. Maybe Perisic needs a rest because he's going to be playing in the Champions League game for sure.
And you, Izan?
Yeah, with Longley, I think on paper he is better than Davies in basically every single way. Better at carrying the ball, better at passing the ball. He's more aggressive. He's better at tackling, winning the ball back. So I think Longley could have a real killer season for us. I think Conte looked at his skill set and thought that this guy will really fit in on the left side of a back three, and he can really exploit the things that he's good at, which is his on the ball abilities. And clearly we need that because we looked like a joke playing out from the back last night.
It was painful watching that.
TZ says that I think at least one positive to take from this and the previous transfer window, that's Levy's finally give full control to Paratici on the incomes and outgoings. What do you say, Heather?
Yeah, apart from the Jed Spence transfer, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, very good point, TZ. And thank you for liking my name as well. I saw that comment. Thank you.
What do you say to TZ's comment?
Yeah, I think that Levy has really handed the reins over to Paratici since last summer. Like we saw that with the Christian Romero signing, Brian Hill. Like these are the types of players we wouldn't really go for under Hitchin, especially Romero to splash 50 million on a defender. I don't think we've done anything like that in a long time. So I think that Levy has done a lot of good by handing over the reins to Paratici, and especially in the January window, signing Kulusevski and Bentancur from his old employers, completely robbing them. We got some quality players, really good prices.
Raiding.
And I also think that Levy really trusts Paratici because he signed players on cheap prices. He got a lot of players out, controlling the wage bill, working within his means. He got us to top 4. So I think Levy is really satisfied with the work Paratici is doing, and that's only good for the fans because that means Levy will give more leeway to Paratici to do the things he wants to do.
G says a question. Sorry, Ellie, do you want to?
No, I was just going to say about Kulu, right? I was just thinking about Kulu because you find when players come into the Premiership and they do really well, the second season they find it tougher because they're a marksman and they're giving him special treatment, these other teams, So he's going to find it difficult, but he'll find a way, Kulu. because he's an intelligent footballer. That ball he played to Kane to get the goal for the own goal, it was sublime. So good. See, so however many markers they put on him, he can squirm away from them. Yeah, I just think he's going to find it a little bit tougher to score this season, but I think he'll find the way.
He will. Question here to Paul to all of. Oh, she's gone. The ghost.
I think maybe her phone died.
Yeah, maybe. Well, question then to us both. Who do you? No, I don't know what.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I tried to hide it. Sorry.
That's right. Question to the panel: who do you think has been our best signing this window? I'm going for Richarlison. I think just for what he can do, what he brings to us. It's covered for Kane. It's covered for Sonny. It's covered for Kuvalevsky. So I'll go for Richarlison. You, is that?
Yeah, when the signings first occurred, before I got to see any of them play, I was inclined to say Basuma, but based on what I've seen, I have to agree with you, Dermot, that Richarlison has been the best signing.
Yeah.
He's just so good. He actually really surprised me. He's hit the ground running. I really wanted to see him start on Saturday. I think he's earned it.
Yeah, I do. And I'm sure Ellie would say Richarlison as well, just for his sheer eyes. Or just what did you make of what he did on the touchline, by the way? Because I never did get to ask you that question against Forest. What did you reckon to his little bit of keepy up piece?
He did nothing wrong. If a player's doing keepy ups, go take the ball from him if you want. I mean, go ahead. He didn't do anything wrong. It's within the laws of the game. If you're so angered by it, go win the ball from him. Then it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. He didn't break the rules or anything. Didn't hurt anyone.
The ghost is back.
Yeah, no, my phone died, so I'm back on my lap.
Your iPad. Right. Question to Paul G. Ellie. Question to the panel. I've answered mine, Richarlison. So is who has been? Well, Paul G's asking. She's gone again.
Oh no.
Right. Okay. We'll go on to the next question. We've got Dave. She's back. Right. We'll go back to Paul G's question.
Yeah. What happened?
Right.
So
who do you think has been our best signing this window, Ellie?
I think, is her Wi-Fi okay?
I don't know. Ellie's frozen, we think.
Mm-hmm.
No, she's
I guess
gone.
we can go back to the question afterwards.
Yeah.
With Ellie sorts her issues out.
Right. I'll actually star that, Paul G. So good question, though. Big up, man. Big up. Great to see you. Also want to thank John Fitzpatrick. Big up, my Irish brother, who's come in. United Spurs of America. Big up, guys. Who else has just popped in? We got TC as well, TZ. So big up, guys. Thanks for all coming in. We've got Philo 123 Coys. Big up. He says, "Hi all on the panel. Question: I'm just wondering if Conte is waiting till January to make his marquee signing like Bastoni, etc., hoping that we're in a position for challenging for the league in January. Look, for me, we've got to look at this season as two-parter because we do have the World Cup right in the middle. I think we will be. I think because we picked up 8 points more than we did last season, we've got away our most two difficult away games. I think we've got a good run though. We've got Arsenal, we've got Man City, and I think we've got Liverpool. I think we will be there or thereabout by January, and I agree with you. I think we will get more players in January. What do you say to Philo? 1, 2, 3 toys is
Yeah, I do think that we'll probably sign some players in January. Whether that's Bastoni, I'm not sure. He's made it really clear that he doesn't want to leave. Maybe he changes his mind come January. But yeah, hoping that we are in a position for challenging for the league. I don't think this is the season to challenge for the league. I think Man City are so far ahead of everyone. They've built up that team over a period of 7 to 8 years with obscene amounts of money. I think it's not really possible to challenge them in the current state of things.
Mm.
But I think maybe the season after this one, I think if we go all in, have another good window, then I think we can be seen as title contenders.
Yeah, JC says, I'm off to bed, Dermot. Thanks for the content. By the way, when is the quiz evening happening? No Googling hashtag. It is. We are going to sort it out. Me and Ellie are in the process of sorting it out, so we will sort it out. We're going to do something. September's going to be sort of like a celebration of Tottenham history because it's our birthday on the 5th of September. We're 140 years old. We will be doing a special 140th a special program about Tottenham Hotspur from the very, very start right up to 1901. And then every week we're going to do a special program every 10 years for the whole month of September to go over our glorious club. But big up, JC. We'll let you know. But thank you for the very kind words, and it's very kind. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. Ellie, now you're back.
Yeah.
Who do you think has been our best signing this window? And just before you answer that, big up Phil 1 to 3 chords. I hope he's answered the question well.
I would say Perisic because of the impact in terms of his pinpoint passing and general play in and around the box and his wing play and getting back. I just think he's edged it because Richarlison, he's been a bit of a bit player coming off the bench. I'll give it to Perisic.
Yeah. William Kelly, hi boys, have you signed anyone? Hang on.
No. They can sign me if they want. They can re-sign me if they want.
Yeah, we can sign.
I won't be much good at this age.
Carl Simpson.
You're still better than Winks.
Yeah, you're
definitely I'm still better than Winks.
According to some people, William, Winks Izan said Winks is going to win a Ballon d'Or by the end of this footballing year. So we'll tell that to Dave when he pops in that he might fall off his chair in amazement. But that is,
I know. He even passed the pizza in the restaurant sideways.
It's him coming out of the airport into the arrival lounge, and he literally walked sideways. It was just the most comical thing I saw. Carl Simpson said, "Okay, guys,
that's all he knows."
I know you could make it up. It said, "Okay, guys, what do you think on my thought that by next week Kane and Conte would have signed extensions?" For me personally, I think Kane will sign his after the World Cup because I think he wants to concentrate on that and then the World Cup. But something in principle will be put in place, and I think Conte will sign a contract extension before the World Cup. That's just my opinion. Izan, or I'll go to Ellie first. Ellie, what do you say to Carl Simpson?
I just think, I think I'm on the same lines as you, Dermot, that he'll sign after the World Cup.
Yeah.
Because he wants to get his head straight about that, because that is very important to him. You know, he loves playing for England.
Yeah.
Loves being the captain. Yeah, so, and that's not that far off. It's only next month, isn't it? Well, a month and a bit, because it starts in November, doesn't it?
Izan, are you sure you got all that in your gob?
My God, what is he eating?
I don't know what he's stuck in his gob, but it's just...
Oh, God, he's making me feel hungry. I'm doing this intermittent fasting. It's hard.
Non bread with like chicken and like lettuce, cucumber, tomatoes, onions.
Oh, my God, that sounds good.
We got Mark coming. Big up, Mark. Big up, Mark. And he says...
Big up, Mark.
I didn't realise you were back on. Well, I did send you the link, Mark. Have a look on your Twitter page.
Come in, Mark.
No, Mark, we're too late for Mark. Mark can't. It'll be too late. He says, have we signed anyone yet? Let's see. No, Ellie.
We haven't.
We've got breaking news.
I think we did.
We signed the new tea lady.
No, hang on. We've got breaking news. The window shuts or not?
You're winding everybody up, though, but his little
Moura.
cheeky son.
Oh yeah, Ori signed for Nottingham Forest. I don't know if you guys heard about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, William Bowley.
Yeah, Calm Sensor says Coke on Nizan. It's 12:15 here. Now I want naan bread.
I've got some naan bread in my freezer.
Oh Lord, I
We,
haven't even
we,
had.
we're, not,
I've been having my dinner out.
we're not eating bread in our house, which is very hard. It's bloody hard.
Corey Boy. All right. Sorry, I'm missing that. So, oh yeah, Paul G. But I have to agree with Perisic. I'm saying that I
Yeah.
haven't seen much of the other side. Look, for me, Perisic, them crosses he puts in are delightful. They're absolutely
the money.
delightful. They really are. So big up, Paul G. Great question, by the way. Phil wanted Boy said the only marquee signing I think we are going to make is an actual marquee. You can go down to Tesco and get one and just leave it in front of Levy pretend just dress it as Conte, leave it in Conte's office, in Levy's office, you know.
The most recent signing we made was Will Lancashire from Sheffield United, for our youth team. Yeah.
Used to be an Arsenal boy.
Really?
He was on Arsenal books and they let him go to Sheffield United.
Yeah, well, we've bought him.
We got him.
Yeah, we got him. He's a 17-year-old striker, isn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Corey Boy 85 says, could you just imagine Winks gets married, but everyone would have to sit one side or behind him to see it all happen? With the Carl Simpson and then Corey Boy says,
can we have some more Winksy jokes?
Yeah. Levy has left his checkbook at home.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think he's got the checkbook. I think Paratici, the Don's got that. And then Mark says, and Ellie, I will see you on Saturday.
Yeah. I'm going to interview Mark as well. He doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to interview him.
I think he's watching it, Ellie. He knows now.
I'll interview him before he gets tanked up with beers.
Yeah. Don't worry, guys. Levy has been registered as one of the 25 players midfield maestro. Oh Lord, holy Jesus!
I also heard Levy was coming on this show next week. Daniel.
Yeah,
Levy
he is.
Yeah,
signed him up.
Yeah, we're going to dress Philip Brady up as Daniel Levy. He doesn't know it yet, but we got to have. I don't know. We got to shave his head or something, or Izan, one of the other.
Yeah, he has to be bald-headed.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not shaving my hair.
Yeah, right. Okay, Ellie, right.
I don't want to look like Levy, flipping hell.
Oh, Lord. Corey Boyce, but I've heard we've signed a new vending machine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You know, it's good fun.
Yeah, it'll make more money. It'll make some money for the club.
Yeah.
Vending machine.
Let's go through some of the other bits and pieces. I think David's joining us in a while.
Yeah.
Come
on, David, come down to the dark side.
Yeah, and then we will call it a night because we have been streaming quite a lot today, and you know it's been a long day. But anyway, at least I don't have to put on that Palace shirt. Well, no, that is true. That is true. Right, guys, let's talk about Fulham. Let's do.
Yeah.
You know, let's look ahead now. We've got Fulham on Saturday. Izan, are you expecting the same team? How many changes are you expecting Conte to make?
I don't think there's going to be too many changes. I think Bentancur will come back. I think he'll be fit by then. And I think Richarlison will get the start. I think Longley will come on off the bench as well. But yeah, I'm not expecting any drastic changes. I just think Bentancur will come in and and Richarlison will start.
Oh Lord!
Carl's making me laugh all the time, man.
Apparently, Levy was the third member of Rice.
What's Corey Boy he said, charge £20 for a packet of ketchup.
Oh, Lord. I am so shocked. He said, Levy was a third member of Right, said Fred. Oh, Lord Jesus. Well, can you imagine Levy singing to Conte, I'm too sexy for my shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Right. That's started the comment.
I don't want to imagine that. That sounds sick.
That's so true. Charge £20 for a packet of ketchup. Yeah, maybe. We better bloody win, seeing as the only time I've been to the Union Stadium. Right, Mark, you're not going. I don't care how you got your ticket. I don't care.
What I'll do, I'll hit him over the head with my laptop so he can't go into the match.
You might break your laptop. Poor old
I
man.
don't care because he's jinxing our game. Come on, no, I'll do a little ritual on him so that he gets rid of all the curses.
So basically, you're
So
going to
we
be on
don't lose.
Twitch. You're going to start doing this, or you're going to
I'll
start.
do an exorcism on him.
Yeah. And Philo123 Coys put, I think Longley should start for our ball playing left centre back. Spence and Richie should start as well. What do you say to Philly there?
I agree.
Ellie?
That's what I said this afternoon.
I was about to call you Liz on Ellie.
It's all right, Ellie. You can call me anything you want. Right, so, yeah, I agree. I think Longley should start because Davis wasn't very good progressing the ball. Spence should start. I want to see him. We didn't sign him just to have him on the bench when he's a young player ready to prove everybody wrong. And Richarlison deserves to start because for that goal he created, it was fantastic, against Forest. And he came on against West Ham and he did make a difference when he came on. We got forward more and he carried the ball very well. Yeah. I just want to see Spence more than anybody.
Yeah, I do too, Ellie. I agree with you. Look, I've got a thing here. It's for the chat. Right, there's 12 people watching. Right, your job for the next, say, 5 minutes is to put comments in. Right, what should I coming out tune be? I think it should be Thunderstruck by AC/DC. Because if you do Thunder sounds, if you listen to it, it does sound like Tottenham. Paul Pablo's put idea with the state of play that they should play with plays that come out to Robbie Williams. Let me entertain you. So let me know in the chat what songs Tottenham come out to. I think Thunderstruck is that.
What songs they should come out to?
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe Seven Nation Army.
Ellie,
I like the Eye of the Tiger song.
Yeah.
I love that song because it's awe-inspiring.
It is. According to Mark, before going,
I
I was several points
like that.
Yeah.
When you hear that music.
Let me just bless you, Mark, now.
Oh, sorry. I got carried away. I'll shut up.
Why are you saying that, Eddie?
No, I get carried away sometimes.
Corey Boyce said, should use my mate's Bang Grace Collide ride. Calm senses.
I'm too sexy. Do you reckon if we come out right?
Do you know that would have been
And
I think that would have been Harry Winks' song coming out. Do you know he would have come out like hopping and bopping?
Do you know what else I like? The other song that I like is Paradise by what's that band? I can't think of their name. Paradise. Para. I like that. That's quite awe-inspiring as well.
Carl Simpson says Spurs versus Fulham 3-1. Virginia, this will score their goal. You're guaranteed that. You really are guaranteed.
As long as Dan James don't score again.
Izan, look, hello.
The Irish Hotspurs coming in.
Talk about royalty.
Here he comes.
We shall bow to the master. We shall bow.
He's been on a long streak. You can tell, David.
No, look, first of all, I appreciate you asking on, Dermot. Sorry I've got over a bit later on than what I wanted to today, but I also wanted to film my promise. So, how are we all?
Yeah, we're happy.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're all happy.
Carl Simpson
Well,
thinks
happy and sad.
Carl Simpson thinks Spurs should come out to write said Fred, I'm too sexy.
Too
later
sexy
on,
for
man.
my shirt.
Yeah,
Too sexy for my shirt.
we got his
Too
hand say that
sexy
to
is
win
her.
in Italy. You know, we're just a bit. We're trying to get over. Look, for me, Dave, the transfer window is good. You know how I feel about this window. The window's shut now. We've got the players in who we've got in. How have you viewed the whole summer window, Dave?
I think we've had a decent window. I think we didn't make some of the mistakes that maybe we've made in past windows. The fact that we've operated early, absolutely brilliant. I'm happy with that. But the fact that it tailed off without addressing maybe another one or two positions is very, very disappointing. You know, everyone knows how I feel about that back line. And I said to people, like when I was mentioning Sanchez and people like that, they're all saying to me, but Dave, it's okay, they're backup. But then I said, okay, that's well and good saying that. But what happens if someone like Romero gets injured? You know, and then you're
Yeah.
the same back three we've seen against Roma that just weren't good enough in terms of progressing the ball and switch off defensively, which both happened in the West Ham game last night. So I'm not happy we didn't address that back line whatsoever, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's for lack of trying. I do think we tried to go and get targets and they didn't move. They didn't want to, so whatever else. And in a way, it's hard to accept because I believe every player should want to sign for Tottenham Hotspur, but that's because I'm a fan of this club, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, in reality, not every player does want to sign for Tottenham, like we've seen with someone like Bastoni and that. So I think it's disappointing there. I think, look, maybe we could have done with another body up in one of the forward areas, maybe a replacement for Kulu Sexy. But look, Lucas Moura didn't go anywhere, Gil didn't go anywhere. I think all in all, though, I think we've had a decent enough window. I don't think it's been as bad as many people are saying.
Yeah.
But it does leave you with that taste in your mouth. It could have been a bit better. But what I will say to people is we do have to understand that with Paratici and Conte coming in here, we had to completely undo the house that Steve Hitchen built. The problem is when we had Pochettino, we had that great squad. Steve Hitchen, then the signings that he was using to start replacing them guys and phase them out and bring in new guys, they weren't good enough. They also paid big enough money and brought them in on big enough wages. So at some stage, we had to be able to clear that out. And when you start doing that, you're left in a position where you need to start strengthening the squad before you can start focusing on spending big, massive money on individual positions. And I find that hard to accept at times. I do. I've got to be honest. But at the same time, I'm not naive to it as well. This summer, we had to fill out the squad. And then hopefully next summer, and when Conte says about another 2 transfer windows, hopefully he's talking about January, which maybe gives me an indication. Hopefully we can go again in January. Now, there's a guy in this chat, Philo, and he did ask me a question before I ended up. I forgot to get to it. And he was saying, do you think Tottenham might go again in January? Now, for me,
hang on. I've got it here for you, Dave. Hang on. He asked us the same question, actually.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I address it because I feel bad. You know, I do feel bad when I miss out on things like that. Sometimes I just have a scatterbrain.
Was that it there, Dave?
Yeah. For me, I would like to think we're going to go again in January for Bastoni. Although he did say, and his agent put out there this summer that he doesn't want to leave. He's an Inter fan and everything else. And I can get people saying as well, oh, but we didn't put in a bid. But when you are the player doesn't want to leave, what's the point of putting in a bid knowing that your answer is going to be no and infuriating him and his agent more and alienating in future? Because you never know. He's got 2 years left on his contract. Come January, that's a year and a half. If they don't get that signed by next summer, his value drops in half and he might look to go somewhere else as well at half the fee he could have got from. So I'm hoping in January. Tottenham are still in the Champions League. We're going well in the league. Inter maybe are falling a bit, and we can capitalise on that, put in the bid, and maybe he might say yes then. But look, I think it's been a bit of I would say a 6 out of 10 window for me. I think we started off fantastically well. We operated early and try and give ourselves the best possible position going into the season. But you know, there's more work to be done, and that's the reality of the window at the end of the day.
It is. And also we had a question here from Paul G. He asked us, and we'll ask you the same question, Dave. who do you think our best signing of this window's been?
Best signing. Look, for me, I would say Perisic. I think he's definitely shown what sort of quality we need in both wing-back positions. In terms of going forward, I think he's world-class just because he's free. I don't think it's not what you would call a marquee signing or a statement signing. I think the fact that you get him without any fee probably makes it more of a marquee or a statement signing. I think it makes it even more of good business. But I think Perisic will be a real asset. And to be fair, he's probably one of the only ones that we can really judge because we've seen the most of him. But what we've seen from him highlights what we've lacked in that wing-back areas, and also highlights where Sessegnon needs to get to, where Emerson needs to get to, where Jed Spence now needs to get to, where Udogie needs to get to when he arrives here. So I think he set the standards of what we need to expect from wing-backs in Conte's position. I think Richarlison is another one. I absolutely love Richarlison. Anyone that knows me, I love a shit house. I love a player that gets stuck in. I'm not into all this, standing off players and stuff. My type of games get in there, get stuck in, throw them off their game. I think the fact that everyone was crying about his bit of skill, I mean, you'd swear they never sat there and Ronaldinho or JJ Okocha for years, but the fact that Spurs player does it, they all have a bit of a problem with it. But Richarlison, I think, would be a very useful asset. Again, I think we've addressed the position that we probably neglected over the last 8 years, which is a decent backup to Harry Kane, someone that you look at and say there's goals in him, rather than a Vinicius, rather than a Llorente. Llorente was a good backup, but you just didn't know. You didn't know whether you were going to get a goal from him. But when you see Richarlison, you know he's got goals in him, and you know he can score your goals. And it's everything else he brings. It's the energy. It's the commitment to the cause. It's the fight. It's the all the hard graft off the ball, and when he gets the ball, making his best use of it as he can. So I think he's a very good signing. I think Bissouma, disappointed. I wouldn't say disappointed. I think underwhelmed would probably be the right word yesterday. But I see what he's got in him. I like what the good bits he did do, which in terms of getting on the ball, progressing it forward nice and quickly and stuff like that. I think ultimately he'll become a good signing. But I would say Perisic is my favourite. He's genuinely world class.
Chelsea have just bought Albania from Barcelona. So he's just signed for Chelsea. So, that's just thought I'd just put a breaking news, but not really bothered.
I don't think Troops would be calling him a bummer blood clot.
Mark says here, Mark Cousin, one of our presenters here on Thfc Till I Die, he says, wasted opportunity, we could have done so much more.
Yeah.
I can understand that, right? I just want to pose a different question on this one, Norman. I fully understand that way of thinking. And like I said, the window does leave you with a bit of taste. You could have maybe done a little bit more. But at the same time, if Tottenham's first targets and positions were not available this summer, are you prepared to wait to get our first choice target in the next window rather than waste money on second, third, fourth, fifth choice, which ultimately got us into the situation we got into in the first place, and having to clear out the table. So I think there has to be a bit of a balance struck on that one, in my opinion. I think you've got to weigh it up that, yes, there's an opportunity missed in some areas, but would you rather the club squander money the way they have done over recent years or go after their first choice target in future?
I mean, Dave, look at it. We've wasted money over the years. You know that. We all know that. We've wasted money. Look at Nobelier, a record signing, a waste of money. We've wasted money. We wasted the Gareth Bale money. I mean, that question, Emerson was the only one player out of that lot that came out of that. So, look, Paratici, as you said yourself, and I've said it on here tonight, is rebuilding the house that Hitchin messed up. We have to give this time. We'll have to give trust, Conte and Paratici. We may not like waiting, but we have to do it properly. There's no point fighting amongst ourselves or saying we didn't spend 200-300 million. It's not going to work because you're not going to get the players in you want all in one go. So we have to be patient. I understand we're starved for success. Conte will bring the success. He'll bring the success this season. We just have to trust them and let them do their job because they know what they're doing. But big up, Marty. And I hope you enjoyed the game on Saturday as well.
I like what Paul Pablo said. That you don't call Eric Dyer moon boots anymore,
Yeah.
David.
Why?
I think you had, but not as often, maybe.
Oh no, I do call him moon boots. I do.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, sometimes I do use his name. Yeah, I don't know why, to be honest with you. Look, some people find it disrespectful. Some people enjoy the nicknames. It's one of them. It's a fine line. I do call him moon boots during games because ultimately 2 minutes in, he's already pissed me off, and I've tried giving him a chance, and he does turn back into moon boots. When I'm doing other conversations on the guy, maybe it's a bit self-conscious of me, but maybe hopefully I'd be taken a bit more serious with what I say when I don't use his nickname, because I do feel what I have to say on some of these guys, I would like to think it's valuable. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moon
moon boots is a kind word for him, isn't it?
Well, I mean, Ellie, I could think of a hell of a lot worse if I wanted to, you know.
You know what I mean? I've called him lots of different expletives.
I mean,
So have I during games, believe me.
Yeah.
at one point I was calling him Rollick's head. That's what I was calling him. But I think moon boots is a kinder word. I'll start with you, Izan. We won't be going for too much longer. Poor old Dave's been at it for hours tonight, and he needs his rest.
We all have.
God knows what time it is for Izan. Ellie just needs to recharge her battery. She's like the Duracell Bonnie. She needs to put more Duracell batteries into her to keep her going for tomorrow.
I've got my mobile. See, I'm on my tab now. See.
I love the headset you were wearing earlier, Ellie. You look really professional.
Yeah. I know.
Me and Philip were calling her.
I've still got it up here.
Me and Philip were saying she was like the Sky Sports girl. Do you know the lady that does the commentating on Super Saturday? She reminded me of one of them.
They'd be doing well to get Ellie on Super Saturday.
I could do a better job than them as well. There's one lady with a squeaky voice today on Sky Sports. She was wearing a man suit with a mixed race lady with a sort of white hair, and she was wearing a suit.
She's a former Arsenal ladies player.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And Ricky Sachs was on there.
Yeah, we saw.
Yeah, he was our representative.
No, Dave will be on it next year. You'll watch it. Philip Brady.
You know what I mean?
They'll never have someone like me on it. I'm too outspoken, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, David. Maybe.
I'll tell the truth, you know.
You're bringing the Irish charm. You and Dermot could do it. You should petition Sky Sports.
And Sanchez and that, you know. Honestly, they get complaints. Ofcom would be going mad.
Just don't take Philip with you because he hates Sky Sports.
If it was left to me and Dave, I think within 5 minutes Sky Sports will be taken off the air.
Yeah.
We just need 5 minutes. Moondog says good evening, morning, whatever it is. I don't even know what time it is. Moondog big up. Look, Dave, and also William, I'm not doing that tonight. We are going to finish soon. But definitely come on. You know,
we have personal at the back.
Don't worry, we have personal. Oh Lord God!
I want to say first of all, the guy that came up with it, cracker of a nickname. Bit jealous I didn't come up with it myself, but the reason why I didn't come up with it is because he's crap. So yeah, credit to the guy that come up with it, but it is a name that sort of infuriates me. It really is.
Moondog put don't talk about Dyer. He's cost me a fortune in bets. And then Moondog's put, I'm just glad we never wasted money signings just for the sake of it. Do you know what? For me, that's the signing of the night for me. That's
signing nobody's the signing of the night.
We could have just made signings for the sakes of signings, but we didn't.
Yeah.
And I think
that's right. I said it earlier as well, didn't I? That we shouldn't go for our second, third, or fourth choice. Let's go for our first choice in January. If we get that one over the line and get another first choicer that we wanted, that's much better than getting third and fourth choices. Because that's all that we were going to pick up. We're not going to pick up Vinicius and Dan James, are we? Come on.
I'm just glad he's gone to Fulham. Dave, we've got Fulham on Saturday. Do we know there's going to be changes in the Tottenham side. Conte's already stated that last night after the West Ham game. We could say Longley hopefully make his start. We might see Jed Spence. We'll see Richarlison come in for Son. Are you expecting some sort of a reaction from these players now for Saturday? Or do you think, look, as I said before, we are unbeaten, we are playing badly, and do you think we might see us kick on now from that draw against what? Because you are right, it did feel like a loss last night. When I really sat down and thought about it, what you said, it did feel like a loss. Do you think the players would have felt that too last night? And do you think Conte will make a lot of changes for the Fulham game?
Look, my opinion on last night's game probably has a bit of bias towards it purely because of what West Ham fans tried to do to me. So I probably have extra emotion in that sort of game because I want to beat their butts so badly. I want to open pass on them every single time. Ellie could see the passion on my face at the stadium that day. I was, when we scored, I was cutting out the mouth. I wanted to beat them that bad, By the way, that was great day out, Ellie. I was love seeing your passion as well. Great day out. Look,
I was busy filming it all as well.
Just very quickly, Dave. Pablo said he would love to see you on with Roy Keane. That would be interesting.
Oh my God, I'd pay good money for that on prepaid.
Box office. By the way, I reckon if I got him into this like YouTube boxing, I think I'd take Roy Keane too. By the way, look, the West Ham game for me, Dermot. I think the reason why it felt like a loss to me is because we were in such control of the game. Look, whether we done enough in possession in the first half or not is another debate. But ultimately, we controlled that first half. We looked well going in at halftime. But it's like we came out in the second half and thought all we had to do was just pass it around the back line without any care, and we were going to walk this game and just put in number 2, number 3. And that started off with your pieces kicking out the ball. It was just so stupid. It was brain dead. It was like he done it so nonchalantly. Like there was no care behind what he was doing. It was just sort of felt like it was going through the motions, and you put the ball out of play. I thought that was very sloppy. And then from the throw-in, there's just so many players that switched off. Look, Højbjerg switched off. Basuma switched off. Between the two of them, not one of them picked up Soucek's run. Not communicate with each other to pick up the run. Dyer, same thing you always see with Dyer. The ball goes into the striker, it sticks. He can never, ever dislodge it. Antonio held it up. Davies switched off. Perisic wasn't marking anybody. Sanchez was standing too far over. He didn't close the gap that Soucek was running into when he could have. There was so many things wrong with that goal, and it was all from just switching off. But am I surprised when it comes to some of these guys across the back line? No, because it's what I've been telling everybody. These guys, when it comes to better teams, you're going to get punished when they switch off. We've got away with it against Wolves. We've got away with it against Forest. But against better teams, do have players that can actually hit the target, you will get caught. And we got caught yesterday. But when we done that, Dermot, we shifted the whole balance of the game. They had the momentum, they had the right mentality, and the fans shifted energy as well. And we were lucky to get out there with a result. They had some fine chances after that. And they didn't take great enough in possession. And we went into ourselves. Even after, another thing that winds me up, the penalty decision. Look, I'm not even going to get in onto Peter Wanks today because he had he may as well wore a West Ham kit around there yesterday with his whistle on. Really, he should have. He should have. It was embarrassing. But the referee's not going to give you anything. You're up against your rivals. You're up against their crowd as well. It's 13 men essentially against 11. Now, why over the years do Tottenham crumble when everything's against them? When I see other teams galvanise together and stick it to them and get out of there, but make sure they go and win it, get out of there, and stuff like that brings good mentality going forward, good camaraderie. And I just felt we wilted under the pressure. And it comes back to when Ben Davies, it reminds me of when Ben Davies complained after Europa Conference League about the pitch. He mentioned the atmosphere as well. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, you're going to an away ground. You're going to be playing against an atmosphere that's not favourable for you. How weak is your mentality that you need people on the sidelines constantly giving you big ups rather than having to take abuse? Can you not handle that? Does that affect your game? Why is it affecting your game? You know you're going into a hostile atmosphere. Learn to deal with it. You've been at the club 8 years. You've been all across Europe. And the reason why we've been all across Europe is because we've been across the Europa League and Europa Conference League, because some of these guys can't handle the pressure. So they've been to some of the most hostile. It's not new to these guys. Learn to deal with it. It concerned me when Conte said after the game, we're still learning to deal with atmospheres and environments like this. I mean, that's concerning. And the reason why I think he says that, and the reason why them same issues are there, is because you're asking the same players to do what they've already proven to you over the last few years they can't do. So that's why, for me, it felt like a loss yesterday. I just felt like we gifted them a result when we didn't need to do it because we weren't playing well in general. And this is why I keep speaking about the defence. When people say to me, Dave, we need a can, I'm like, that's well and good, but you can't keep asking our strikers and Son and Kane to score 3, 4, or Kulusevski score 3 and 4 every single game just to get points. At some stage, you have to rely on that back line to hold out in them tight games. And again, yesterday, they've proven they cannot do it, like they've done against Brighton last season, like they've done against Man United when it was a tight game last season, like they've done against Burnley last season when it was a tight game. These are teams you've got to learn, and you've got to be able to rely on your back line to get you them the 3 points rather than a point. Last season, it nearly became costly, only that Newcastle bet Arsenal. This season, you might not get away with that.
No.
The Premier League is stronger this year than what it was last year. So every point is crucial, let alone gifting a game or gifting points to an opposition that don't deserve it in the first place because they're just horrible. But second of all, they don't need that gift. They're on bad form as well. Drive the dagger in, keep them down there. And we failed to do it. Now, in terms of Fulham, I think there's going to be rotation. If you see Romero one side, Langley the other side, it doesn't matter who's in the middle. I think you're going to see us so much better in possession. And by the way, when you have players that can deal with possession, then teams stop pressing you because you can play. When we were stopping teams last season, sorry, I know I'm going on a rant. I do want to hear what everyone else has to say. But I'm passionate on this back line. Everybody knows. But like,
you carry on, David. Carry on. We're interested.
Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
You haven't lost us yet.
The reason why we're playing the way we're playing, especially in first halves or second halves, teams are pressing right up against Tottenham and saying, how can you deal with the pressure? Knowing that backline can't deal with the pressure and they will make a mistake, lose control, sloppy pass, panic and balloon it long straight back to them. That's why teams do it to us. But when we were slapping teams last year, because we had Romero in there, we had Bentancur in there, everyone was on top of their game basically. We were just passing through them. Then they started doing, okay, well, we'll sit back. And then they found out that's the way to play against Tottenham. But teams aren't doing that anymore because they know how bad that back line is in possession. But if we had guys better in possession, we control the game. We keep them in their half. We can rotate possession left and right and be patient and wait for the gaps and spaces to open all you want. But that starts with having the possession. And it makes your game a hell of a lot easier because you're in control of the game. And people say, well, the back line are under too much pressure, but they cause it themselves because they can't deal with the football. It's not coming from the strikers losing it or the midfield losing it. When you go into attacking areas, you have more chance of losing the ball than what you do keeping it. But at the end of the day, the defense is too passive on the ball, not good enough defensively. They always drop off because they don't back themselves to make the time of the challenge correctly, like we seen with Sanchez last night, like we seen with Dyer over the last couple of games, missing 2 tackles on the halfway line. There's issues there. And for me, I think against Fulham, if you put Romero one side, Langley the other, I think you'll see a much better Tottenham in terms of possession. I think you'll see us be a bit more active. I'll be honest, I'm very worried about Mitrovic because even if you do put Langley and Romero in there, they're still not going to handle this guy. He's an absolute machine. And not only is he good when you put the balls in the box, and he'll definitely win most of them headers, by the way, from corners, crosses, free kicks into the box. He's going to win every single one because we never will win the first header or the second ball, especially so far this season. But also, he's well able to hold that ball up. And what we need to be aware of is Fulham are now pushing people forward. They're not like the Fulham we played a couple of years ago when they were here. That new manager who's out, he plays a bit of an attacking style of football, and he gets them players to float forward. But it's the pace of the players they have. If Mitrovic holds up that ball and slides it into Daigle, Reed, or out to Pereira, or out to anybody else, Cabana or whoever it is, all they've got to do is just knock that ball forward. They're out skinning Dyer, they're out skinning Davies, they're out pacing Langley all day long. And that concerns me. So that game all has to be with stopping Mitrovic. You neutralise him, put one behind him, get someone to shadow in front of him so that they can't get any ball into feet whatsoever, so he can't hold it up. Neutralise Mitrovic, then that's how you go and beat Fulham. But this is not a foregone conclusion, which it should be, but it's not because of our defence, and it's that simple.
Yeah, no, Dave, I actually totally agree with everything you say.
No.
Izan, we've got Fulham Saturday. We're going to see some new players. What are you hoping to see, and what would your score prediction be for the Fulham game?
Yeah,
And
look,
also, before you answer that, I would like what's your window out of 10 as well?
yeah. So for the Fulham game, I'm going for a 3-1 win. I just don't see us keeping a clean sheet, and I think that our attack is far better than Fulham's. We should be able to beat them. I'm still pretty confident going into it. One player that I would like to see is actually João Paulinho from on Fulham. I've seen him in Liga NOS quite a bit. I feel he's really underrated, so I want to see how he does against us. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. But yeah, in terms of the window, I'd say seven out of 10. Obviously, we could have done more, but the players we brought in were ones we needed. We didn't need to spend too much money. Yeah, we brought in Richarlison, good backup striker, can play all across the front line. He's a quality player, Premier League proven. Basuma as well, quality central midfielder, Premier League proven. Perisic is top class. He's proven himself in the Champions League all over Europe. And we've brought in young prospects like Spence and whatnot. If we brought in a center back, a good center back, I would have given this window a 9 out of 10. But yeah, it's going to be a 7 for me, just because we didn't bring in a defender.
Dave, do you want to respond to?
I'll respond after. Let Ellie go first.
Yeah.
I'll take
Ellie, what's your score prediction for Saturday?
I've already predicted it.
Out of 10.
I've already predicted it on the current show.
And out of 10, Ellie, what's your window out of 10?
Yeah. Well, I already predicted it on Kyron's show. I predicted 4-2 to Spurs. All right, because I think Fulham have got a couple of goals in them, and I'm sure Mitrovic is going to score. I'm 100% sure that he's going to score. And they've got some decent players, and they press very well. But I think they'll tire, and then we'll get our opportunities to pick them off. Because our front line is awesome. When they're on the money, they're on the money. And in front of our home crowd, I'm going to be there as well, cheering on the lads. So I just hope that we play well as well, because I don't want to see this boring pass. And I agree with Dave about Longley, and I want to see Spence as well, because I want to see how well he can do. And it's against Fulham, so this is the time to blood him. In the lesser games. I'm no disrespect to Fulham. No disrespect to Fulham, but they're not a Man City or a Liverpool or a Man United or an Arsenal. They're not. They're not in that same league. Even though they can raise their game, they're going to falter, because that's the way these clubs do. They might have one-off brilliant result, and then they'll go back to their level again. So I want to see that. And as for the transfer window, I'm with Dave. I'll give it a 6 out of 10, because we didn't address the right wing back position properly and get a world-class one in, and the centre-back, because Dyer is Dyer, isn't he? He's moon boots, as you say. I just don't like the player, sorry, because he can't pass the ball. And I like centre-backs who can bring the ball out, When Romero's there, he looks 20 times better, because Romero's covering all the dirty work that Dyer doesn't do, So there are, in a nutshell, 6 out of 10, because we didn't get that centre back in.
Dave, I'll let you answer. Go on. I'll let you respond to Has Spurs TV, and then I'll give my reaction then.
Yeah, look, 100%. I agree. I look, I've been saying this for a while. People say, why aren't we playing this lovely possession-based, sexy football? Why aren't we pressing high up the pitch? And it all starts with the back line. If you have confidence in your back line, you can instruct your midfield to press up, you can instruct your wing-backs to press up, and you can instruct your players to press up, because on the off chance that they do that ball, you have the good players back there to be able to deal with being caught 3-on-3, whatever it is, 1-on-1. They have the capabilities to deal with it, like a Virgil van Dijk at Liverpool, like a Ruben Diaz at Man City. And when you don't have them players, and Conte knows they're liable to be skinned because they lack pace, sometimes their challenges are rash and they mistime them. So, when you know your backline has them sort of issues, you protect that backline. It's what Jose Mourinho done when he was here as well. He doesn't need any more excuses to park the bus.
Yeah.
But the reason why we sat so deep under Jose is, again, to protect the back line. Let's not forget, under Jose, let's not forget how awful Sanchez was, Dyer was, Davies was when he stepped in and playing the left side of the centre-back of the two. They were absolutely awful. People go off last year, but I go off the whole time they've been here. I'm not taking one season into account. Anyone could be a one-season wonder. It's how, if you someone that does it consistently year in, year out. Now, so that's why we don't press. The reason why we sit back is because it's to protect that back line, block up all the pockets of space for anyone to operate in, and that's the whole idea of it. That's why you don't see Kane pressing. They just sit in, wait for the opposition to try and play in there. If they crowd them out, take the ball out, and hopefully catch them on the counter. That's why we sit back.
Yeah.
The reason why we don't play this possession-based sexy football is because we can't. The definition of insanity is persisting with the same thing and expecting different results. And that's what we're doing with Davies, Dyer, and Sanchez. We're persisting with them, expecting them overnight to be absolutely unbelievable on the football. In order to play the modern day football and the way it's going, you've got to buy ball-playing centre-backs who can also defend. That's why Liverpool have spent money on the centre-back positions they have done. That's why City have spent the money in the centre-back positions they have done with Laporte, Ruben Diaz, the guy that brought in from Everton, John Stones, and people like that. Remember, they had some people...
They brought in Ake as well from Bournemouth, isn't it?
Yeah, and they had people like Mangala and that there beforehand who were atrocious on the football. So he upgraded, brought in football... decent players that can play on the ball, which then gives them possession of the football. In order for us to play like that, and I do think you will see a change if Romero was one side and Langley was the other with Dyer in the middle. I think you would be able to see us play that possession-based football because Romero and Langley are excellent on the ball. And why I say they're good on the ball, right, is look at Romero at times. You see him up in the opposition half. He can beat players. He wants to get involved in the play because he's confident that he can play football. When do you see Sanchez do that when he's in? When do you see Ben Davies? When do you see Dyer do that? They don't because they know they can't. They know their limitations.
Because they're not footballers.
Yeah, Romero gets involved in the play.
He's playing another sport.
Because he's a good footballer. And that's the level we need to get to. And that's why I'm crying about these centre-backs every single day of the week. I wake up looking at God. I'm like, what did I do in a previous life to deserve this bestowed upon me? Why do I have to watch this all the time? It's like, get me back to Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld. You put them in this back line, you'd see a much better team. The reason why we were able to play the way we were on the pitch is because look at the back line. Rose, Walker, Jan Vertonghen, and Toby Alderweireld. They can all play football. Toby Alderweireld, it doesn't matter. Ask him to put it anywhere on the pitch. That's going to your foot. Jan Vertonghen can also play football. And the reason why out of the team, the reason why we keep playing this counter-attacking style football is because your replacements are Dyer and Sanchez and Davies, who are not good enough on the football. So we have to counteract that. And the reason I disagree with the midfield a little bit has here because I think Højbjerg gets an extremely rough ride from our fan base. Anytime the results aren't going the right way, it's always him that scapegoat, even no matter what he does. For me, I think he's been our best midfielder so far over the course of this season.
Definitely.
Exceptional in most games. Look, don't get me wrong, faded out of the game last night. That was due to his injury. I think he's been exceptional when we got here. Now, the thing is, the defence is bad. When you're asked, and you see this as a tactic at times, to counteract how bad we are getting the ball out from the back at times, watch it. Højbjerg goes into Ben Davies' position. Ben Davies is instructed to push up, which leaves Bentancur in the midfield on his own. But the reason why you're asking Højbjerg to come out and go into Davies' position is to transition the ball out from the back because he's a good passer. People underrate his passing. They'll never give him credit for all the balls he puts over the top. You never, ever hear him mention.
He plays so many good balls.
So many. As soon as Bentancur plays one, we're all sitting there with the dicks in hand.
I know.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
they get a hard on, isn't it?
Exactly. And you don't give the same credit to someone like Højbjerg where you should. Bentancur is a deep lying playmaker. It's what he's made his career off. We do have them
Yeah.
options. When the back line looks and goes, Højbjerg's in a good position, but you know, I'll just give it to Sanchez. And then Sanchez, you're like, okay, Sanchez, turn out, find Emerson, like Romero does. Now I'll just give it back to Dyer. And then Dyer goes, okay, right, well, I'll just move it out to Davies. And then he looks at Davies. Davies is Perisic is screaming at him, give me the ball.
Painful.
Davies just ignores him and goes, no, Dyer's a better option. I'll go back there. Because they don't back
Yeah.
themselves pass it out. It's like a clown show at times. It's like a sketch of fucking
know.
Chaz, or what's that, the famous duo on, from England.
The Three Stooges.
I can't remember now. She's going to kill me for not knowing them. But like, it's like a comedy sketch at times. If you like, when you look at Liverpool or when you look at City, and I encourage this to people, look how far their midfield is pushed up when they're in possession from the back line. And the pockets they sit in compared to ours is because they know that their defenders can find them in them pockets of space. So they're confident in their ability, so they sit up further. But with us, because we're so slow passing it side to side, all teams do is just push right up, man mark every single one of our players, bar our back line, wait for the wrong pass to happen, and then take it off us. But if you give the ball to the midfielders in space, like we have done, look what happens. They can play football. They've proven that. But when you're so slow on the ball and they're man marked and you're giving it to them 2 yards away from you with a marker behind them, what do you want them to do? All they have is just backwards because there's nothing they can do. You know, it's different to Harry Winks because Harry Winks used to roam across unmarked because he was so shit, no one marked them and just give it back. That's different. But when Højbjerg and Bentancur are marked and you're trying to give it into him, how do you expect him to do it? Do it quicker. It should have been done 4 or 5 passes ago. But watch a match of the day last night, for instance, simple example. Right? Trucker Brothers, that's it. Big up, my man. Watch a match of the day, for example, last night, right? I'm watching our highlights and I rewatched the game. Where's watching our defenders pass it to each other? You watch all the other highlights on match of the day or the other highlights from the games during the week. Watch how many of them, yes, they may move it from left to right across the back line, but it's one-touch move. And as soon as it gets into a position where they can pass it forward, it's straight.
They move it quickly.
No, you can go and have a coffee break. I'm just going to give it back to my mate here. You know what I mean? They don't do that. Yeah. Watch how other teams do it. It's one touch. The minute they can play it forward, it's in there. And we've got to learn to do that.
Yeah.
And you know what, Dave, as well?
I'm right.
It's not just passing sideways, backwards, side. It's slow as well. Like Dyer, when he receives the ball, he's got to adjust his body because he's a lummox. And then he's looking around to see, well, I'll pass it to Sanchez. Sanchez back to Dyer. Then Dyer to Davies. Davies back to Dyer. Then Sanchez will get it. And then he'll pass it back to Lloris. And it'll be a daft pass that Lloris can't control. And then he'll do a daft one as well. It's painful. It's embarrassing as well as a Spurs fan to watch it. People are thinking, we'll just push up on them and we'll catch them out.
Yeah.
That's what West Ham did.
Yeah. Shamu here is saying to William, maybe William put here, I have to start, this is the start of it. William says, I have to have, make sure I have a defibrillator beside me because
defibrillator beside me.
And then William,
I know.
William, maybe we
take one with me
instead and watch Winks get 30 goals and assists. Izan reckons he'll hit those stats. He's 100% serious.
Hey, do you know when you Irish do your Hail Marys? You pray to something, your Hail Marys. I think, send me one over, Dave. I'm going to take it to the Fulham game.
Oh, honestly, I think it's like 15 or 16 times you have to do the prayer. I mean, I say it, I say the rosary more than anybody during the games. It got that bad yesterday. I turned to the side so people couldn't see my facial expressions because I was angry.
Yeah.
I just had to turn to the side. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was just so pedestrian. It's slower than a wet week, honestly.
Isn't it?
Honestly, I at times I had time to go for a nap and just wake up to Jack listening, going, "Sir," at the referee because he was giving them everything. It was just like, it's just atrocious to watch them. Like when you're watching players do 5-10 yard passes from left to right, and they're not even with any purpose. Like it's like bubbling left, it's bubbling, it's fucking under hit, it's over hit, it's coming at you like a rocket.
Yeah.
looking at them and they're falling over the ball. It's taking them 3 touches to get it under control. Honestly, I'm this close to going, Emily, where's my boots? Let's get them cleaned. I'm on my way over. I'll show them how to do it. I mean, if I'm a guy, that's probably, according to the stats now, because I've lost a bit of weight, but I'm probably about 4 stone overweight. But if I can still pass and control the ball, and I can still do all my skills that I could do when I was a lot skinnier on the AstroTurf and stuff like that, and on pitches over here that have potholes, sheep shit on them, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Why can't they do it on a surface that is absolutely pristine, made
Like
for
a
them
carpet.
every week? In fact, I'm sure the groundsman is looking at them and going, please, guys, you're making me look so bad. You're making it look like there's divots all over this pitch. You know, not only are you affecting the way Tottenham play, but you're also making the ground staff look average. You know? I'd say he goes in every morning and gives Romero a pat on the back and, you know, thank you, Romero. You make it like at least people can see it's a pristine carpet you're playing on. It just winds me up with them backlines. Honestly, it's not only us. They're affecting the groundsmen's work. You know, we're never going to win any more awards with the groundsmen when you have these guys bobbling passes all over the pitch because they can't do the basics. It's honestly, it's just, it hurts my brain. Honestly,
I know. It's so painful. I remember that Burnley game, right? We won 1-0, but we were doing the same as against Brighton, and then they done that fantastic shot. I think was it McNeil? I think I can't remember, but somebody done a brilliant shot, and it hit the post, and I thought, oh no, here we go again.
Oh, Antonio!
It's just like so painful to watch. We just scraped that match. We were lucky to win it.
Yeah.
Ellie,
Well, look.
There's even one time Benrahma had the ball, and I'm just looking at him, and he's out at the wing at this stage, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, yeah, he wants to cut in and have a shot. Now, if I can see that from 5 minutes away, but yet he's allowed to come in, take another touch, another touch. Oh, do you know what I'll do? I'll set my sights. I'll make it obvious I'm going to shoot to see if anybody closes me down, and they're still looking at him. What are you going to do? And then he just shoots, and it's like, I can see that from 10 minutes away. Someone close him down. Someone tackle the guy.
I know. They're so incompetent.
It's just so bad.
It's like watching Dahmer
Remember
and
what
Dahmer.
Conte does when he goes home? He's probably thinking, I've got the most shit defence. If I didn't have Romero, I'd kill myself.
No, he's going for the bottle of whiskey or the vodka in the cup in the drinks cabinet and drinking that. Look,
What did the Italians like wine, didn't they?
Yeah, I think he's drinking more than wine. Fulham for myself on Saturday, I'm going for a 3-1 win. I think we will get a win. The window for myself, I'm actually going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think it's good, but it could have been better. And I agree with everything you said, Dave, about Sanchez and about everything. I mean, big up to Has TV. I hope that answers your question. Dave, look, there's the link. It's been put in the chat. Everyone, please get over to this man's channel. He is the best channel on YouTube. He is this channel's mothership. That's what I've always called it, and I will continue to call it. Dave, what you got coming up tomorrow?
We've got a fan show tomorrow starting at 3 p.m. for anyone that wants to come on and have their say on Tottenham's transfer business, Tottenham's transfer window. We'll also have a stats with Jack out, predicted lineup out, new formats on both of them. So if you watched them last year and you didn't like them, I urge you to give them another chance this season. You really will like them. It's a complete different format and stuff the way we're doing them. So you've got that to look forward to tomorrow, really. And then the Fulham game Saturday, you know. So, yeah, look, if you like what you see, look, even if you do like the players that I don't like, we still get on. I'm not one of them that'll bite your head off. And you know what I mean? I'll still have a conversation with you on them. I'll never agree with you, but I'll still have a debate with you. Over there. But look, mainly, please, everybody, I really like the people involved in this channel. I have such good time for them. The likes of Dermatron, Ellie, The Godfather, Isan, you know, who was amazing on the fan show the other day when he came. It's good to see you, by the way, my man.
Yeah, thank you.
Please smash the subscribe here, because what you've got here is you've got 4 or 5 genuine people who are just trying to put out content just for Spurs fans to interact with, have their say on. So please get behind them, smash the like, the subscribe, and share it out to people as well. You know, every little helps where you can. So
thank you, David.
Thank you very much, David.
Very kind of you.
Big up John Fitzpatrick. And big up Shamu as well. Big up. Listen, we won't be here tomorrow. We won't be doing a pre-match show. We sort of covered it in the shows we've done today. Me and Ellie and Nizam will be on the fan show tomorrow with Dave, giving our thoughts on
Good effort, by the way, today. I meant to say that to all you. You know, you're putting serious effort on the channel today and been going at it for a long time. So, good effort today. That's
it's something that I wanted to do, and I think the Spurs fan deserve us to bring to do it like you've done as well, David. This is a channel like your channel is for the fans, and that we need to have what they say. But look, I've really enjoyed today. Transfer window is now closed. Let's all get behind the team. Let's all get behind Conte and the Dons train. We're all aboard. We're going to win the trophy.
True.
True.
We're going to win the quadruple.
You can believe you in. You can believe you in the middle. We'll all be on the same train because Tottenham are going to win something. In Conte.
Lisa says, "Big up, David."
Yeah,
that's our Lisa. Bigging you up, David.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, Dave. I'll tell you one thing now. Dave has been a big part of me doing what I do. He's one of the nicest people on YouTube, and he is a kind man. So please, everyone, get over to Dave's channel. Please like, subscribe, get them to 8,000. Jack and Dave.
Yes.
I will say this as well. Look, over the last month, there's been a lot of things said by a lot of people, especially like to Dave, to Jack, to myself, to a few other channels. Look, we do this for your entertainment. We don't do this for anything else. We don't get any money out of it. We do it for entertainment. We do it for you. There's a lot of work goes into these shows. So look, we all support the same team. Let's all get behind the team. Let's all back each other up. Let's all be fair to another. It doesn't matter if you Levy out, Levy in, Levy in the middle. We're all Spurs fans at the end of the day. Stop the bitching. Let's stop the bullying. Let's stop all the name calling. Let's all gather together and push this team and club forward. Because going forward, we can be successful. Divided, we fall. United, we will get there. So everyone, please, let's unite and let's come on. Conte, Paratici, I trust. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.